In the words of our Nigerian elders, the chicken that scratches the ground for food will one day uncover a knife. A proverb that warns how pursuits of authority and control can unearth unexpected dangers even for those who wield the blade. This saying takes on a poignant meaning in the ongoing saga of Nnamdi Kanu's legal battle, where the indigenous people of Biafra has renewed its demand for his immediate release, accusing the presiding judge of delivering a biased conviction that followed a pre-written script from the All Progressives Congress-led government to silence their leader. This na confirm street news. Na waiting we hear with the report, but be sure say na confirm. Abeg, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and drop a comment to help us grow and bring you undiluted news. IPOB issued a strongly worded press statement through its media and publicity secretary, Emma Powerful, condemning Kanu's conviction and life sentence as a miscarriage of justice. The group described the judgment by Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja as politically motivated, lacking substantial evidence, and designed to appease the APC administration under President Bola Tinubu. They claimed the judge acted without allowing Kanu the right of allocutus, a chance to speak in mitigation before sentencing, and exiled him to a prison in Sokoto, far from his support base, making it nearly impossible for him to access lawyers, fund appeals, or mount a proper defense. The statement portrayed the conviction as vendetta rather than justice, asserting that it was part of a broader effort to suppress dissent amid Nigeria's escalating insecurity. If this story of legal contention and accusations of bias in one of Nigeria's most watched cases has you pondering the state of justice in our country, I would encourage you to like this video, drop a comment with your views on whether such claims hold water, and subscribe to the channel. Staying engaged ensures we keep unpacking these critical issues that affect us all. The background to this renewed outcry traces back to Kanu's long-running legal ordeal. As the founder and leader of IPOB, a group advocating for the self-determination of the Igbo people in Nigeria's southeast, Kanu has been a polarizing figure since his initial arrest in 2015 on charges including treasonable felony. He was granted bail in 2017 but fled the country after a military raid on his home, only to be rearrested in Kenya in June 2021 and extradited to Nigeria in a process his supporters have consistently challenged as unlawful rendition, violating both Nigerian law and international human rights standards. His trial, marked by numerous delays, health concerns during detention, and debates over procedural fairness, culminated in a November 2025 conviction on 7 counts related to terrorism. Justice Omotosho sentenced him to life imprisonment on 4 counts, 20 years on one and 5 years on another, a decision that intensified regional tensions and drew criticism from human rights organizations for alleged bias and lack of due process. IPOB has maintained that Kanu's advocacy is peaceful and that the charges are politically fabricated to stifle calls for equity and self-determination amid long-standing grievances over marginalization in the southeast. In their statement, IPOB's key positions were clear and pointed. They argued that the conviction was not based on evidence, but on a predetermined agenda, with Justice Omotosho allegedly following a script drafted by the APC government to silence Kanu and distract from national failures. From IPOB's perspective, the judge's actions aligned with the ruling party's interests, ignoring substantial defenses and procedural rights to deliver a verdict that served political masters rather than justice. They highlighted how Kanu had warned that injustice against one group would eventually engulf the entire nation, a prophecy they say is now evident in spreading insecurity, including attacks in Yoruba land by groups they label as Fulani terrorists. IPOB urged the Tinubu administration to recognize that prolonging Kanu's detention accelerates Nigeria's collapse and demanded his unconditional release as a necessity for peace, not a concession. They warned that history would judge those responsible harshly, emphasizing that no peace could prevail until justice was restored. The implications of IPOB's accusations and demands are far-reaching across political, social, economic, and security spheres. Politically, they challenge the judiciary's independence, suggesting that high-profile cases like Kanu's are influenced by executive agendas which could erode public confidence in the courts and fuel opposition narratives ahead of the 2027 elections. If Justice Omotosho is seen as acting on a government script, it raises questions about the APC's commitment to fair play, potentially alienating voters in the Southeast and beyond who value transparency. Socially, the statement taps into deep ethnic sentiments, portraying Kanu's conviction as persecution of the Igbo people, which might deepen divisions but also rally support for self-determination causes. Economically, prolonged unrest linked to Kanu's case has already disrupted trade in the Southeast through sit-at-home orders and security fears, costing billions in lost revenue. His release could stabilize commerce, while continued detention risks further boycotts and investment flight. On the security front, IPOB's rhetoric warns of escalating instability if demands are ignored, potentially leading to renewed clashes between separatist elements and state forces, exacerbating Nigeria's multifaceted threats from banditry to insurgency. Public reaction to IPOB's statement has been swift and polarized, reflecting Nigeria's diverse viewpoints on Kanu and the judiciary. In the Southeast and among IPOB sympathizers, the accusations resonate strongly, with many echoing the view that Justice Omotosho followed an APC script to silence Kanu, seeing the conviction as a predetermined outcome orchestrated by the ruling party to suppress dissent. Social media platforms have buzzed with support, prayers for Kanu's release, and calls for accountability, framing the judge as a tool of the government. Human rights advocates and some legal experts have expressed concern over the allegations of bias, urging an impartial review in Kanu's ongoing appeal to uphold judicial integrity. On the opposing side, government supporters and those who view IPOB as a threat argue that the conviction was based on evidence of incitement and terrorism, dismissing the bias claims as attempts to politicize the judiciary and evade responsibility. Political analysts have offered balanced perspectives, noting that while procedural issues like the denial of allocutus merit scrutiny, unsubstantiated accusations against the judge could undermine the legal system without concrete proof. From IPOB's position, the analysis of Justice Omotosho's role is damning. They contend he operated from a script pre-written by the APC-led government under Tinubu, designed to permanently silence Kanu and distract from national failures like insecurity. They point to the lack of evidence in the conviction, the refusal to allow mitigation before sentencing, and the exile to Sokoto as deliberate moves to isolate Kanu and hinder his defense, all orchestrated to appease political interests rather than deliver justice. This view portrays the judge as an extension of the ruling party, working for the APC to maintain control over narratives of separatism and suppress voices challenging the federation structure. Such an approach, IPOB argues, not only perpetuates injustice, but accelerates Nigeria's instability, as unaddressed grievances spread like wildfire, consuming regions beyond the Southeast. Looking ahead, several paths could emerge from this renewed push. Kanu's appeal at the Court of Appeal remains key. If IPOB's accusations of bias gain traction, they could strengthen arguments for a retrial or release, especially if procedural flaws like the allocutus denial are upheld as grounds for reversal. The government might respond with dialogue or concessions to de-escalate tensions or double down on security measures, risking further unrest. For the Southeast, continued agitation could disrupt daily life through protests or sit-at-homes, but a favorable ruling might foster reconciliation. Politically, as 2027 approaches, the APC may face pressure to address regional grievances to avoid electoral backlash, while opposition groups could capitalize on the issue to build coalitions. If insecurity worsens, as IPOB warns, it could force a national reckoning on justice and equity. Ultimately, the resolution hinges on whether the judiciary affirms or overturns the conviction, potentially setting precedents for how Nigeria handles dissent and ensures fair trials. As we wrap this deep dive into a case that continues to stir passions and debates across Nigeria, share your take in the comments. Do you believe the accusations of bias hold merit, or is the conviction a fair outcome? If this story has given you fresh insights into the intersections of law, politics, and justice, like the video, subscribe for more investigative narratives, and turn on notifications to stay updated. Your voice keeps these conversations going.